everyone remembers what was happening with The Witcher. Well, The Witcher Blood Origin has united the internet. Everybody hates it. Literally everyone hates it. The critics hate it. The fans hate it. Your mom hates it. Your dad hates it. Your brother hates it. Your dog hates it. Everyone hates it.
I just want to say, like, starting a prequel series while the original series is still going is insane behavior.
So
like
Hollywood
worrying,
now.
Mentally ill behavior. Just stop.
But that's not even necessarily true. I mean, they launched 2 spin-offs of The Walking Dead while The Walking Dead was still on.
I mean, everyone agreed that Walking Dead should have ended way sooner than it did. So I don't even know if it's over yet.
So no,
I stopped paying attention.
So guys, this is what I want to point out. Somebody pointed this out to me. This is what I want to talk about. When I say that the media, like, you think propaganda, if you think propaganda is limited only to Twitter, like to celebrities and Twitter and people talking about politics, oh, no. See, culture war is a thing for a reason, and they influence culture by influencing your opinions on things that you think are trivial, like The Witcher or Netflix, things like this. So this was an article from so this is from Screen Rant. So Screen Rant says, The Witcher Blood Origin review bombed by Henry Cavill and novel fans. Why do I say that this is propaganda? Because if you go now to CBR, The Witcher Blood Origin is getting review bombed by novel and Henry Cavill fans. They just switched the order around because these aren't actual people with opinions.
They're a hive mind media apparatus.
Yes, it's both of these companies, both Screen Rant and CBR, are owned by a company called Valnet, which also owns like Movie Web, all of the talking head websites that publish. Look, it was a smart
and it's
thing
owned
to do.
by what did you say? Some Saudi prince?
It's like a billionaire dude, I think, if I remember correctly. But like
media is not real, folks.
No, it is not. And the point here is this. When you read these articles, my question was like, oh, look, journalists support journalists. Like, oh my God, look at the toxic incels. They support each other. Fine. Those are your homies. You support each other. The fans and the people who love, whether it's source material or people who just want celebrities to start treating the people that pay their bills with like a modicum of respect. They support other people that support these franchises that were amazing before Hollywood got a hold of them, right? They support each other. Who the hell supports CBR and Screen Rant? Like, who are the normies? Like, they have to be normies, right?
Those are like examples of why I feel like we live in a simulation. That media outlets like this exist.
Well, it was very smart. One day, these companies decided to buy up these I don't want to call them rags. Like, they weren't always like that. A lot of these websites did fairly good work back in the day. But the idea here is like, look, why wouldn't you just buy it up and create a propaganda arm for your media empire? Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense, especially if you have the capital to do that. So,
and then Blood Origin's creators have an interest in influencing the media to make the narrative that they got review bombed, which is always the narrative when reviews don't do well.
Yep. It's the go-to excuse.
Yeah, or the audience, they blame the audience because they don't like this diverse casting. But I even saw in one of the reviews, they said that it seems like some corporate department for, DEI appeared to have set quotas for the characters to ensure that the cast is politically correct, following, the trends, making sure that they're this, quote, bland hodgepodge of identityless nothing, which nobody can be offended by.
And I do believe that this is like the reason we see so much of it now. You see less of this in other genres. Okay. This is about fantasy, sci-fi, and this realm, which is considered particularly important to culture war, right? Whether it's Star Trek Discovery, whether it's The Witcher, whether it's what they did to the Rings of Power, there is a certain focus on quotas and a weird amount of quota matching for these genres. But if you watch The Terminalist, you don't feel that way when you watch it. It looks cast like a movie would have been cast 10 years ago. It's really funny. I've been what was I rewatching recently? There are so many shows that were I realized that the reason that people love the Fast and the Furious movies, aside from all that, it's a naturally diverse cast. Naturally, it did. You don't look at Tyrese and Ludacris and Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and all of these people and think somebody picked these people out of a chart and said, we need to put this on the screen. So it can be done.
These days, people who are completely unremarkable get chosen just for their traits, for their immutable traits. And in the past, it just wasn't that self-aware, that like fatal self-awareness of reaching these quotas. And
there's so much that
I don't even believe it in the original Witcher series, which I'm still like working through the first season of that. I'm most of the way through, like that, just simply because it's so heavily based on, like, I guess medieval or close to Renaissance period Europe. The fact that they made it just as diverse as like any random shopping mall that you go to,
it's anti-reality
on the East Coast, like that just doesn't feel very real. It doesn't feel organic or immersive to me.
And that's like
I'm not racist for saying so.
No,
like I'm sorry, like that. I'm tired of the narrative that just pointing out or noticing that they're doing this is the real crime. Like it's them who are forcing it on everybody else.
Yep.
And again, like I still think it's insane to start a prequel series for a series that's ongoing.
Netflix.
And then while you're replacing the protagonist actor?
Yeah.
Like,
they were always going to lose.
What is the through line?
They were always going to lose when this, like, maybe the idea
how is
here
this
is
recognizable as the original project anymore?
Netflix promotes The Witcher Blood Origin by virtue signaling, featuring the first kiss between two men in the show and a deaf character using sign language. Look, you could make the art. The funny thing is the character of Echo in Hawkeye actually worked. But even then, they still virtue signaled about it, right? Like because it was like, I made the joke. I was like, look, she's both deaf and she was missing a leg. I'm like, if you're telling me that this wasn't planned,
right,
you're lying. You're lying. Look, and the funny thing is, it worked. If they had never drawn attention to it, it would have been great. And then like somebody like me would have come along and been like, look at this. They didn't virtue signal. They just did this. Is it still clearly cut from the boardroom? Sure. Did Aliqua Cox do the best job ever? No, not really. But did she deserve her own spinoff? No, she did not. Like that does not make any sense.
What always happens with projects like this is that the critic score is way higher than the audience score. But even in this case, 35% from the critics.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And it's gone, I think it's gone up a little bit since
and 9
then.
with the audience?
Yeah, it's 10 now. In
10
30,
with the audience.
It's 30. Oh, no, it went down from critics.
Like,
it's 33 from the critics and 10% from the audience. Let's refresh and see what it says now. Yeah, 33% from the critics. It's like, this is very clearly something that we can all get behind. Everybody hates this and nobody wants to watch it.
And even if the diversity, equity, inclusion stuff wasn't part of the criticism, it's still a shit show. Yep. Like everyone who watches it is saying it's completely, lazy. Like it's written lazily by people who are riding on the coattails of the source material and the fan base they believe is built in. But then they're alienating that fan base.
I also laugh because then you see a show like Wednesday, which everyone seems to love, starring Jenna
I'm worried that they're going to ruin that.
Oh, well, they're already saying they're like, they got to give her she's got to be gay. Because everybody, like, it's like, remember how Tim always says politics only flows one direction? Culture only flows one direction. Gay. Like eventually you will like, that's who's it? Ralphie May as the skit where he's like, why do they take everything and make it gay? That's what they're doing. Like, it's like, you can't have her in a stable heterosexual relationship because you're not pushing back on societal norms and heteronormity. Heteronormativity, is that the word?
Heteronormativity?
Yeah. Is that,
I think.
Heteronormative. So I guess it would be heteronormity, but whatever. The point is here is that like they get their hands in it. And this is also what's funny about this is like for shows like this, especially, they confuse the extremely loud and vocal supporters that just happen to be part of that community with mainstream appeal. Wednesday has mainstream appeal. Like 90% of what I see from Wednesday is the dance.
Right.
Everyone, like, there are literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who have made their own edits of it. There's an amazing
it's a viral scene, and people are making TikToks imitating it.
Exactly.
To this song by Lady Gaga called Bloody Mary, and now that song has become one of Lady Gaga's #1 songs just because of the TikTok trend.
There's also this amazing one that I saw the other day where they take the Bully Maguire, and they take all of Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3 dancing, and they've inserted it in there, so he's dancing with her. It's funny. Freaking incredible. Like that's
if
stuff
you have
can't
meme
fake
potential and like viral potential, that's what makes a show.
Yeah, and you can't fake that. Like they're not they're not even trying to be like to appeal culturally. They're just trying to appear to match quotas and feel like that's going to carry them through that. It has to be about tax. Like somebody mentioned here, it was like it has to be about tax breaks. Whether this is about if we're talking about ESG scores, again, I don't know. I just know that it starts in the HR departments, right? And it starts in the HR departments and your casting departments. And the second that those got infiltrated, and it's funny too, because if I remember correctly, casting departments are mostly female. If I remember correctly, like I remember reading that statistic somewhere. And it's funny because like back in the day, casting is something like I would love that job. Like, you know how often I like to point out when celebrities look alike. Like I would love to be hired specifically just to cast brothers and sisters on TV shows. Like that would be like a freaking sweet job to be able to be like, who is somebody who looks like this person? And then you go and scour, and then you have to like, do they have the acting pedigree? Do they have the talent? You know, what is their resume that says that they could take on this role? And then you have to weigh that with, do they have the resume that says that they could do this role? And how much do they look like that person? Think about how amazing that would be as a job, only to have it cheapened by check this box, check this box, check this box. Are they gay yet? Yes,
I
they're
even
gay.
felt like the original Witcher series is kind of guilty of that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, like,
it's
now
not something that goes unnoticed. That's
people are so desensitized to it now. Like when they do it just a little bit, they're like, oh, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, like, at least I wasn't beaten over the head with it too much.
And for the most part, I don't complain too much about that. Like, as long as they don't talk about it, right? As long as I don't have to hear, as long as nobody in Middle Earth is saying the word diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm usually the rose-colored glasses person of the group that can get by most of it.
Even
the second you start with the buzzwords, we're gonna have words.
Some of these shows and movies also are making the big mistake of like showing internet literacy. Like there's a stifling amount of internet literacy in writers' rooms right now. And obviously if you're internet literate, that's something that you can never come back from. Like that's irrevocable. But do the courtesy of hiding that when you're writing TV shows or movies. Like people talked about that scene in Glass Onion where they're playing Among Us. Yeah. And they're referencing the pandemic quite a lot. And like, it's just like not timeless.
Buzzwords are
not
like
long lasting.
That's literally like, I was already on the fence and disliked most of the Batman because I felt like people loved it. I didn't like it that much, but the moment she used the white privilege line on a movie, I was already like, the whole movie dialogue wise before that was timeless. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have picked a generation it was written in. And then she says that line. I'm like,
yeah, even if it
why are they dressed like that then? Why, if she's using that word, which is very clearly a word from this time period, why are they dressed like that? Why does it go out of its way to be timeless and then use that word?
Yeah.
Pointless.
Even if it was included, if that line was included to show her hypocrisy, that still is like,
use a better word.
It's taking you out of the moment.
Yeah. It's people like think that I don't understand the subtext of what she's saying. It's not about that. It's about the actual word you chose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it's just another example of being gaslit by the corporate media and Hollywood.
And just remember that when you don't like something, it's gaslighting.
Yes.
When you don't like something, it's review bombing. Right. Always, right?
I mean, even if they're getting artificially review bombed, is that mutually exclusive with the show being bad?
No.
Like you could be getting review bombed because people are angry at how badly you made this show.
Exactly. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.